Have you ever felt like you only cross people's minds when they need a favor? Like your presence matters only in moments of convenience. Have you ever sacrificed your own time, your rest, even your inner peace, just to be there for someone, only to watch them vanish the moment their problem is solved? If that sounds familiar, then this story speaks directly to you. Because sometimes the world will keep asking, keep taking, and keep depending on you, until the day you finally realize that being available for everything comes at the cost of losing yourself. In a peaceful rural village, nestled among endless, golden fields that swayed gently in the wind, there lived a man named Ethan. Everyone in the village knew him well. If a wagon wheel broke down on a muddy road, people would say, "Go find Ethan." If heavy rain caused a roof to leak in the middle of the night, Ethan will fix it. If someone needed guidance, support, or simply a companion to listen, Ethan was always the first person they thought of. And the truth is, he never refused. Ethan believed that kindness defined who he was. He thought that by always saying yes, by always showing up, he was becoming a better man. And in many ways he was. But over time, something began to change. Without realizing it, Ethan's life slowly stopped being his own. His farm remained only partially tended, with crops left unfinished. His small cottage, once cozy and warm, began to fall into disrepair. Yet day after day, Ethan found himself busy mending other people's fences, solving other people's problems, and carrying burdens that were never truly his. He was everywhere except where he was most needed. His own life. Each evening, Ethan would return home exhausted, his clothes covered in dust, and his steps heavy, from a long day spent solving other people's problems. His mother would watch him quietly, a mix of concern and sadness in her eyes. With a gentle sigh she would say, "Ethan, my son, you are always there for everyone else. But tell me, who is there for you?" He would offer a small, tired smile, trying to brush it off. "It's okay, Mom. Someday, people will remember everything I've done for them. They'll appreciate it." But deep down, that someday never seemed to arrive. One particular evening, the sky darkened faster than usual. Heavy clouds rolled in, thick and ominous, warning of an approaching storm. The villagers panicked, rushing to gather their crops before the rain could destroy months of hard work. Ethan, as always, didn't hesitate. He hurried to help his friend Jacob, whose haystacks were still scattered across the field, completely unprotected. Together, they worked urgently, covering and securing everything before the wind picked up. But in the middle of helping someone else, Ethan forgot about his own land. His wheat field stood wide open, untouched. Then the rain came sudden, heavy and unforgiving. By the time Ethan finally ran back home, soaked to the bone and breathless, it was already too late. His entire harvest had been destroyed. Flattened into the mud, he sat down on the wooden porch. Silent and still water dripped from his hair, as his eyes fixed on the field in front of him. The same field that once held his hopes, his effort, and his future. Now, it was nothing but ruin. That night, his mother spoke again, her voice softer than ever. "You saved everyone else's harvest, except your own." Ethan said nothing, but inside him, something shifted, something cracked. The next morning, with a heavy heart, Ethan walked to the far edge of the village. There, near the quiet river, lived an old farmer named George, known for his wisdom and calm understanding of life. Ethan approached him and said honestly, "George, I don't understand what's happening to me. I help everyone I can, yet I feel empty inside. It's not the work that exhausts me. It's the people. George didn't answer right away. He simply looked at the river flowing beside them. After a moment, he asked Ethan, "Look at this river, what do you see?" Ethan replied, "It gives life. It waters the fields, feeds the animals, and supports everything around it." George nodded slowly. "That's true. The river gives endlessly. But tell me, what happens when the rain becomes too much and the river loses control of its own path?" Ethan paused, thinking carefully. "It overflows, it floods, and it destroys everything in its way." "Exactly," George said gently. Then he turned to Ethan and added, "Kindness is the same. It is beautiful, powerful, and necessary, but without limits. Without boundaries, it stops being kindness and starts becoming harm to yourself." He placed a hand on Ethan's shoulder. "You don't have to be everywhere for everyone. Learn to be present where it truly matters, especially for yourself." Before Ethan left, George gave him a simple but powerful challenge. "For the next 7 days," he said, "don't agree right away when someone asks for your help. Pause, take a moment. Ask yourself honestly, do I truly have the time and energy for this right now? If the answer is no, then say it clearly. Not today, and just observe what changes." The experiment felt unfamiliar from the very beginning. On the first day, just as Ethan expected, Jacob came rushing over in panic. "Ethan, my bull is sick. I need help taking it to the doctor right now." Ethan froze for a moment. His eyes drifted toward his own field. The same field he had neglected for so long. It was still unfinished, waiting for him. Inside, he felt torn. Helping Jacob felt natural, almost automatic, but for the first time, he stopped himself. He inhaled deeply, steadying his thoughts. "I'm sorry, Jacob," he said slowly, "but today I need to finish my own work. I can come help you tomorrow." Jacob blinked in disbelief. "You saying no, Ethan?" Gave a small nod. "Just not today." Jacob didn't hide his disappointment. He frowned slightly before turning away. As he walked off, Ethan felt a wave of guilt wash over him. It wasn't easy. It didn't feel good. But he stayed and he worked. By the time the sun dipped below the horizon, something remarkable happened. His land was finally ready. For the first time in months, he had completed what he had started. The following days brought more requests. Small favors, quick errands, little problems that others expected him to solve. Each time Ethan paused. Each time, he answered calmly but firmly. "Not today." That evening, something unfamiliar settled in his chest. Peace, a quiet, steady kind of peace he hadn't experienced in years. On the 4th day, life tested him again. Dark clouds returned, and soon heavy rain began to pour. As the storm intensified, water started dripping through the cracks. In Ethan's roof, he looked around instinctively. No one came, no one knocked. No one offered help. A quiet realization settled in. When he was always available, everyone depended on him. Now that he had stepped back, the world had grown silent. For a brief moment, sadness touched his heart. But it didn't turn into anger. Instead, it transformed into strength. Ethan picked up his tools and fixed the roof himself. Alone in the middle of the storm. That night, sitting beneath the shelter he had repaired with his own hands, he whispered softly, "So this is what self-respect feels like." Weeks passed, and Ethan changed. He no longer rushed to earn approval or prove his worth. He no longer felt the need to be everything for everyone. Instead, he chose calm over chaos, balance over exhaustion. And slowly, something unexpected began to happen. People started to see him differently. Jacob began solving his own problems. Neighbors stopped knocking on his door for every small inconvenience. And Ethan's field, once neglected, became greener, healthier, and more abundant than ever before. Even his own body felt lighter. His energy returned. His smile, once faded, came back naturally, and strangely enough, people didn't like him less. They respected him more. Because he was no longer the man who sacrificed himself for everyone else. He had become the man who finally understood his own value and protected it. One quiet evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, old George came to visit Ethan. He slowly walked around the farm, observing the tall, healthy crops swaying gently in the breeze. The land looked alive again, full of care, attention, and effort. George smiled and asked, "So tell me, Ethan, when you stopped being available to everyone, did everything fall apart?" Ethan let out a soft laugh, shaking his head. "No, George," he replied calmly, "if anything, life only started getting better." George nodded, his eyes filled with quiet understanding. "That's because the moment you stopped saying yes to everything and everyone was the moment you finally said yes to yourself." Ethan stood there in silence, letting those words sink in. And in that moment, he realized something powerful. Nothing truly improved until he chose himself. So now, let me ask you something. Do you see yourself in Ethan? Are you always there when others call? Always ready to help, always putting yourself last, yet somehow still feeling empty inside? If so, remember this. Saying no doesn't make you selfish. It doesn't make you a bad person. It simply means you are choosing your peace over constant pressure. Because the truth is, when you try to be everywhere for everyone, you slowly disappear from your own life. But when you start setting boundaries, when you begin protecting your time, your energy, and your mental space, you finally become someone who exists fully for yourself. People don't value what you give endlessly. They value what you choose to protect. So protect your time, protect your mind. And most importantly, protect your energy. And if this story resonated with you, if it made you pause and reflect, even for a moment, subscribe to Inspirational Stories, where every story not only helps you improve your English, but also helps you understand life a little more deeply.